Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Seekamentor podcast series where we discuss various topics regarding product management. I am Dhruv Gupta, your host for today's session. Also, today with us, we have Rahul Joshi, who's working as a senior product manager at iCertis and has guided and mentored many aspiring professionals on their journey to become product managers or owners or people who want to build their career into the domain of product. So, welcome to today's podcast, Rahul. It's really great to have you with us. So,
Uh, Hey, thanks, Dhruv. Thanks for having me. And yeah, uh, as you rightly said, currently I'm working as a senior PM at iCertis, but it has been now almost 11 years. I'll be completing 11 years in my professional journey. I started off as a developer, and yeah, it's like out of college, do development. But that's where you kind of realize there are different roles within the organization. And that's how I actually came across product owner as a role, right? So I am one of those case who have transitioned from a product developer to a product, and I've seen that journey. So probably many of the questions that come to any aspiring PM, right? I've kind of been there, done that. So started off as a product owner, slowly and steadily, then moved my way to product manager, then senior PM, and it has been now a few companies that I've been part of. But yeah, that's about it. Just to talk about, I'm based in Pune, and all in all in Pune. Uh, yeah, if you want to know anything more, I'll happy to talk about.
yeah, definitely, and it's good to know about your experience and professional journey. But what I'm really interested in, I think we haven't talked about in our earlier sessions as well, is more on the product owner roles and product management roles in terms of what are the differences and all those aspects. So our session today will be focused on these two roles specifically, and if anybody wants to make their career into product owner or into product management, then how can they think towards or move towards it. So again, first of all, I would like to understand, what are the major differences between a product owner or a product manager roles in your experience within various organizations, or is it the case, many people believe that they are interchangeably used within the organizations and it's quite similar. What is your thoughts on that?
Right. I would say, there is no one set of answers because I've been in organizations where this roles has also differed a lot. But classic from an experience point of view, what I think is the difference between a product owner and product manager is product owner is more working towards the development side versus the product manager who is more of an outbound person per se, wherein it involves strategy, it involves go to market. So this is in a nutshell we can classify them. Product owner is going to focus towards engineering. Product manager will look at other aspects wherein how the product can be successful is something that he is going to think uh, day in day out. So just this would be my very high level classification for these two roles.
Yeah, understood. And I think you are quite right in the sense, even my experience I've seen, it's majorly from company to company how they define it. I mean, in some companies, if it's a small organization, you'll find product managers doing the job of a product owner as well, which is more tactical in their aspect, whereas product management is more strategic in aspect, as you mentioned. So yes, rightly so. And on that topic, what do you think that are the specific skills or experiences which would be essential for a product owner? And that might differ for a person who is into a product management role. So, any idea about that or thoughts on that?
Sure. So the normal question that we get, right? Anybody who is joining, let's say, a Seekamentor or it's a cohort, and if anybody from engineering who would want to actually deep dive into product journey, right? And they'll always ask, hey, which certification to be done. So what I personally feel, right? So certifications are good, and definitely it's a great, what you can say, skill set or a keyword for recruiters to highlight on a LinkedIn. So the reason I call about certifications, be it CSPO, PSPO, or Safe Product Owner. So what it gives you all the theory. And when I say theory, it is sometimes really essential to understand in org to org, this differs, right? So there are KPIs, there are OKRs somewhere. So all this is going to get covered in these kind of certification courses. And definitely you will also have a lot of cohorts, a lot of online material. But for me, if you are part of a agile organization, right? So you can learn on the job as well. So if you might be knowing what the Scrum is, you might be knowing, what the sprint is, what backlogs are, what is prioritization, what are the techniques, and these are the basic things which you can learn on the job as well. You can do certain courses, and what it will do is it will create a foundation layer for you to become a successful, or at least enter into a company saying that you are a product owner. So, and again, it differs. The reason I call it differs, it's some of the companies have product owner experience range 10 plus as well, and some of them has entry level. So it's not like a Aspire APM and PM. So there is no role called as associate product owner. It's always going to be a product owner. Product owner can be a 2-year experienced one as well, who is out of an MBA college, or a transitioned one. That is also a valid product owner versus a 10-year who's having an experience but love doing what he's doing with the engineering teams. So that is also a valid point. So yeah, I think product owner requires this kind of on the job and certifications, if I say so. That is definitely going to help to elevate your profile. Yeah, for sure.
Yep, sure. And do you think any specific skill set or experience with respect to product manager a person would need? I mean, for product owner, you mentioned that yes, they need to be, they can move from development as well to product owner, or they should have an understanding of Scrum and development practices, agile practices, etc. Right? That would obviously would help them. But from product management point of view, any suggestions?
Yeah, so product management is altogether different ball game, right? So I always tell them that there is no single set of rule set or single book or a course that can actually help you in getting what a product manager does. So I always emphasis on observing the day-to-day products that we use, digital products, any product, and think from a paradigm wherein you are given a task to kind of improve whatever, or you want to kind of you are given a task to kind of eliminate certain things that are there currently. And so what it will also help you is kind of applying certain theories into practice, but also there is a strategy involved, right? So how would you do certain things you want to do, or how would you take your product as one and go into market? Be it you want to sell it to a kirana vendor near in your street, right? If you have created a ledger that he wants to maintain, how are you going to sell them? So these aspects, right? So there is no set course, I would say. So skill set wise, you need to focus on one domain. Is it go to market that you want to do? Is it a growth role that you want to do? Is it a pure product manager role wherein you want to make sure that whatever the product owner or the development team has done for you, you are going to make sure that you adhere to an organization's initiatives? So basically it's like if in a company you work towards a common goal, right? So organization has set goal, and product manager is actually playing a very pivotal role wherein he has to make sure that to reach that, what are the steps that I need to do? So what are the milestones that I need to plan? So for a product manager, these things are really important. So if at all there is a iteration that is going to give some customers a really happy face, definitely that becomes his highest priority, right? So yeah, it's not one thing, but you will have to decide which area you want to go first, and then accordingly you can work around it.
What I was saying it was that a lot of product aspirants have would love to know that how a day-to-day life differs for a product manager and a product owner. If you can explain that, that would be great as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question, right? So a product owner, let's take from a use case point of view, right? So for a product owner, what he has to is responsible for is as I said, he works closely with the engineering team, right, to make sure that these are the decisions that we have taken, that what goes in this sprint and why it is so why it is required at the time of QBRs, at the time of the PI planning, right? So this is something that the product owner kind of works day in day out with the engineering stakeholders, be it the design stakeholders, and they come with a common plan that, hey, this is how we are going to deliver something, and this is the milestone that we need to achieve. So a day to day for a product owner is going to be like, attending what the engineering team is doing. It's I would always recommend, some people say that, daily scrum is optional for a product owner. Only the engineering and the scrum master should be there. But I always recommended it's like 15 minutes. You can definitely spend that and at least understand what is happening, right? Whether it is on track. So definitely the Scrum ceremonies is something that I highly recommend product owners, at least the newer ones, to understand the verbiage that is being talked by the engineering team. You get to understand the technology even better, right? If it is cloud, everything is going on cloud, right? And if at all there are technical stories, that's a great opportunity for you to be part of it and understand and upskill your knowledge, right? So Scrum ceremonies are one part. Second is making sure that your artifacts are on track, right? That's what I can say. It's like a must-have within a product owner and a product manager as well. But your artifacts, so managing what needs to go in the next sprint should be ready 2 weeks before. So your feature, there are user stories. There are product owners who actually write user stories on their own. They rely on engineering, but at least the basic crux is given by a product owner. So that part of artifacts, maintaining, there is a help center, there is a documentation that gets involved. So all these is responsibility for a product owner, right? So once that is done, there is a handshake between a product owner and a product manager. So if I have to come towards a product manager, he's more at a initiative level, at a very high level, where he say that, okay, when can I get this particular area done? Let's say a login page. Let's say it's when can I get the login screen? When can I get the cart development done? So he is going to be managing all the dots, and when it is connected, it's his responsibility that it is completely developed, UAT'd, tested by him. All the test case verification is something that product manager also does. At least in my couple of organizations, I have also done. So you need to kind of evaluate all the test case, that all the scenarios, so that when it goes out, uh, it is with minimum bugs. We don't want any bugs, but it is with minimum customer complaints. So that is what the product manager is all about, and he has to communicate to the leadership. So his important role is that, okay, this is a feature, this is a customer base that they are requesting for, and this is what I need to give out. So yeah, the framework that we use, right, RICE. So the reach, impact, and this is something that I believe it's product manager responsibility to communicate to the leadership.
I agree with you as well. That yes, product managers, they have greater role with leadership and working with the business in terms of executing their vision, right? So yeah, definitely. Um, and general question on that is, who typically hire for these kind of roles? I know it differs from company to company, but then in your experience, is it more from product team point of view, product managers, product directors only, or what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, great question. So I have been part of CTO's hierarchy, so which is kind of more of an engineering driven. So it's like the vision, right? So from a company standpoint, whether you're a product driven or an engineering driven company. So definitely, I have been part of the leadership where engineering stakeholders, their leaderships are like, he's a CTO, as I said. There are, I was in a company wherein there was CPO who was kind of driving the show, right? So he was more focused on towards a product led growth. So in this case, it actually differs. So let's take an example of company which is more technical. Let's say AlphaSense is one, is TraceLink is one. So there it's a very technical product, right? And when we say technical, it's like it's a platform level. In fact, some of the product managers don't even work on a UI. It's all APIs. So it's like a technical product manager role. So in that case, it is imperative that your leader is sound technically. You as a product manager is also technical enough to understand and deliver. So definitely, it's like it differs on company to company, but yeah, it actually shouldn't matter, to be honest. It's just that if you are going to be entitled to manage and succeed a particular product line, you should be focusing on that.
Sure, sure. So and now I'll move to the another section, which is for aspirants who wants to move into product management. What key areas those candidates should focus on when they are preparing for a product owner interview or for a product management interview? Any advice for them?
Right. So for a product owner, right, I always suggest you go for, IJP. So switching from within an organization is the easiest way to move into a product role, right? Rather than convincing anybody, any outsider, that you have done your bit by attending courses, by attending cohorts, it becomes very difficult, right? So your resume should be strong, your connections, your network should be really strong. So what I would say is, right, preparing is making sure that, as I said, if at all a recruiter is going to search, they are going to search with at least minimum criteria, is whether you're a CSPO, whether you have done a certification. So I'd always recommend that you at least have that, so that even if in the search criteria, you are at least in. Then you try and focus, as I said, right, to be even a product manager, you try and do certain case studies on your own and create a very basic portfolio. I don't want, the designer's portfolio is a different ball game, right? So you can always say that, hey, this is something that this was a problem statement, and I achieved using, let's say, whatever we call circles method, star method, and this is how. So what it would really help is it would tell the recruiter that he's a product thought or a product focused person, and that really helps in actually getting clearing at least the first round, right? Getting a profile a hit, and then once converting that conversion is done, I think you will be able to at least focus more towards the other aspects, which is what your current product is, and then how you think you as a product owner can do better is something that you need to, because you as a developer, right, you are very good at creating features. Or let's even consider anybody from MBA who actually gets hired as a APM or a PM as well. For them, they have already gone through a certain case studies. So these are the two tracks, right? So engineering versus fresh out of MBA, they have already case studies and they have that knowledge. But for our development, they need to make their feature hero and create it as a product offering, and tell how and what are the areas that you worked as a product owner. So that's a basic script that you should have, that hey, this is the product, this is the problem that was there, how you achieved it, what was the solution, and what were the prioritization techniques that you did to actually deliver that.
Yeah, so I think all suggestions make really good sense for people at least from development background who wants to move into product owner, or in any other technical roles and want to move into product owner role right now, right? So and it's a I think it's an obvious path for them as well, in the sense that now at least they have an understanding of Scrum and prioritization, etc. Yeah, they've been part of the Scrum team, so makes more sense now. And similarly, the similar question for product management or product manager role as well. Which areas they should be emphasizing or focusing on if they are sitting for an product manager interview.
Right. So I'll tell few of my past experiences. So first round is basically what you have done, right? What is that moonshot idea that you have kind of done and is highlighted in your resume, and how you kind of communicate. So its first rounds are mostly focused around your resume, your experience, and basic questions would be asked around, what the product thinking is all about, right? So for a product manager, right, it's very important to actually understand what the company is doing, how your experience is kind of going to relate or help that particular organization, And that's how you kind of tie your experience to that particular role, which would actually you know express your what you can say vision to the recruiter and the hiring manager, right? So if you are just appearing for an interview with whatever course material you have studied, it's not going to make that impact. You need to be really passionate towards, let's say, hey, let's take an example of one card or any other company. How you could improvise it, and what is the competitive analysis that you have done being in that space. Take that problem, so even if you're not in that domain, right? So I was part of a radiology healthcare company, and my next company was a supply chain, so it was altogether different domains, right? So but what I did was, okay, what that particular company is to do, okay, it's a supply chain, point A to point B. So what are the companies that actually do the same thing? How would y- how would your past experience really help in achieving a factor into this particular company? So that is something that I used to highlight in my resume. So it's again a tailored resume, right? Everybody knows that company to company you need to tailor your resume and showcase your experience. That is going to be really helpful based on the job descriptions. So for a product manager, definitely your first round with the HR, you need to understand what are the subsequent rounds, what is the process. If at all it's a case study, probably most of them have already gone through it. It's just how you represent it. But as I said, understanding the domain and how you could marry your experience with their requirement is the key factor and differentiator, according to me.
What I was saying is that, the last question what I have for this podcast is, what are the typical career progression paths for a product owner and for a product manager in your experience, with various companies you have worked with, in
Right.
your experience?
Yeah, yeah. So for a product owner, right, ideally it's at a level you can always be a product owner. There is no designation per se, but internally there is kind of a manager, senior manager, product owner, director, product owner as well. So it's like a mapping with the level in companies. You start with a product owner, you then move to a manager, product owner. So again, there are organizations that do that. MSD is one of them. With product manager, again, it's like from APM it starts. That's then PM, senior PM. In
Yeah.
our company, there is the next level is director. Then you move on to senior director, then VP, senior VP, and then you kind of move into the chief product roles. But again, there are different caveats as well in both the roles, right? You can switch the context. You can always jump. Also, there is a marketing and a growth roles as well, right? So in these tracks as well, so there are some parallel tracks that run, but is after a certain experience that you can be a growth as well, product manager, or you can always be a technical product manager. So if you're engineering, you're passionate about technology, you're passionate about the APIs, you can stick towards a technical side. And yeah, there are some awesome companies that actually really like to technical persons as a product managers.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And just last one is, any advice you want to give for aspiring, product managers or product owners, that, if they are in some other field, and how they can, transition their profile into product management.
Right. So I'll just give a very, what I can say, grit example, I would say. So when I transitioned from my first company, second, right, I was still a developer there, but making my product journey within Amdocs, I had emailed. So again, there was an IJP policy, and I was applying through that, but I was not getting hits. Right. Obviously, that's a genuine concern of every engineering folks, right? So I kind of don't recommend this, but I'll tell you how I kind of made my move. It's like networking first. Definitely within the company, it is even easier. But what I did was, there was a product owner requirement, and I kept sending cold emails actually to the recruiter within the company itself, right? So I said that, hey, this is what I have been. I have been part of ABC domains, and I kept on sending. So when I realized, I had sent almost 38 emails. Uh, I was fortunate that there were no complaints being made, but I had emailed 38 times for at least asking for an interview or introduction, at least why I so passionate. So every time the matter used to kind of change that, hey, this is what I studied, this is what the product owner I really like about. That was more of, marketing myself that, hey, I am really keen towards this particular role. And one fine day, that lady, the hiring manager, she gave me an invite and we just simply had a discussion, right? And she was more focused around what this particular product is. You don't even have idea what exactly product owner is. You have just done a course and a certification, and on that basis. But then I really told her that I want to learn on the job, and that's how I did it. See, again, she actually bought my conviction, to be honest, right? So this is how actually I made my move. I really learned on the job. Once I got my first project, it was like, okay, it was all hustle. So my only advice is going to be, you need to be really hungry and foolish around this particular role. If you enter into it, you will really understand, what all different areas that a product owner, product manager is actually delve into, right? You will be called in any random meeting and you'll be asked a question around, hey, why it is not working at a later stage once the product you have made a very good significant understanding of the product. So, but I really liked it, right? And that's how day in and day out you kind of improvise yourself. You try and understand what it takes to be a product owner and a manager. And I really think that you need to be really passionate about uh, this particular role because it is not really easy. It involves a lot of meetings. Your personal life also goes on toll. It takes a toll. But yeah, that's how it is. And so I would always say that the mantra is going to be stay hungry, stay foolish. Your voice again.
Yeah, I think I need to use my headphones or earphones.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think we are almost at the end of the session.
yeah.
But yeah, I was just saying that it's a pleasure to have you here, Rahul, and I really enjoyed this session with you, knowing about your journey and also discussing some of the important topics for anyone who wants to move their career into product space. And pleasure to have you here. And in the last, I would say, yeah, please subscribe to our Seekamentor channel and this podcast series. We do regular connects with the industry leaders and product managers who are there in this space and are ready to help people who want to move into this space. So yeah, please go ahead, subscribe and share this video podcast as well.